Hi, Jeff Cote here with boatingtechtalk.com. We've got a question from Brad. Brad is looking to increase the rate of charge for my house battery bank. Common problem. Our battery banks are getting bigger and bigger, and it's taking longer and longer to recharge our battery banks. In this case, he has 10 golf cart flooded lead acid batteries when using the generator at anchor. And exactly, that's when we need it the most, because when we're running the generator at anchor, we don't want to run their generator forever. Well, not everyone, but most people are okay running a generator for a period of time if they have one, but they don't want to run it forever. I currently have a Magnum 3000 watt inverter charger. The outputs are about 125 amps. I'm considering adding a second additional smart charger, like a Xantrex TrueCharge 60, to increase my rate of charge and to reduce generator runtime. By the way, so far, this question is very well explained and the concepts are bang on. Are there any pitfalls to watch out for when stacking smart chargers from different manufacturers? Brad. Okay. Well, first of all, stacking chargers is a really common thing that we do here at PYS as a way to reduce generator running and or charge a battery bank at the right rate of charge. You know, we've got to remember the largest sort of single output charger that is out there right now at 12 volts is about 150 amps. And that comes out from about, well, that's a 3000. Victron makes a 5200 amps. So 200 amps is, let's call it the maximum charge rate that you can get from a single device. 200 amps at 12 volts. And Victron is the one that does this. In this case, Brad has a 125 amp charger from his inverter charger. And he's asking, well, what happens if I put a 60 amp charger on top of my 125? And he'd be doing that to increase his charge rate, which would mean decrease his charge time, right? So if you earn more charging, earn more money, you don't have to work as much, potentially, right? There is actually no real downside because all devices on a boat for charging are actually voltage regulated. So there's no issue with having a Victron inverter charger or a Magnum inverter charger in parallel with a Xantrex charger or whatever it is. So there's multiple players out there in that power. There's Magnum, there's Mastervolt, there's Victron, there's Xantrex. There's probably other ones that I'm not Outback, right? There's a lot of big players. When it comes to actually stacking chargers or running chargers concurrently at the same time, what you'll find out is that most of the time, the charger, not the inverter charger, the charger, if they're both on at the same time and they're both energized, both breakers are energized when you turn on the shore power or the generator, the charger is probably going to be the one that's actually going to be recharging the battery that's going to be the first online. So most likely, in this instance, the TrueCharge 60 would probably be first online, and then the Magnum is going to be the second one online, and it's going to be recharging at 125 amps. Now, here's where some people get a little bit sort of confused, is they're expecting both the Magnum and the Xantrex to be carrying the exact amount, same amount of load all the way near the end. So, and that does not happen. So as you get your batteries relatively full, and in this case, this is a flooded lead acid battery, so around 80 to 85%, you're going to get into the absorption stage of charging. What's mostly going to happen is one of the devices is going to start pulling itself offline gradually because they're rate limiting themselves at not outputting more than, let's say, 14.4 volts. So in this instance, the Magnum inverter charger might be reducing its charger to never exceed that 14.4 while they're in absorption voltage. And so what you'll see is they'll maybe both be online during bulk, but as you get to the absorption stage, one of the devices is probably going to be pulling back first. And then eventually it might get to zero. And then the charger function might go all the way to the end. And it also will go to zero. So they're not going to taper off in unison. One of them might get offline first before the other one. But none of that affects the quality of your batteries or damaging your batteries or anything like that. It's just not to expect both devices to equally share the load proportionality at the very end. At the very end, in absorption, one of them is going to pull back most likely before the other. And what Brad is talking about is something that we've done hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times. And it's a really good way to reduce that generator runtime. So everything that Brad asked in his question is doable, and he should definitely do it. Great question. Thanks for asking. Also, if you found this video interesting, please subscribe. It honestly it does help us to know that all this time that we're investing is actually we're reaching a lot of voters. And I want to thank all of you for watching. Thanks for spending some time with me.